What's up, guys? This is Genetic Minority here to bring you a Monday Night Raw review for the night of April 11th. Yes, April 11th. Monday Night Raw again is hosted by Shane McMahon. For what reason, I have yet to understand. Here's the thing. I don't. I get that the story arc has to keep going on. I mean, Shane lost to Taker at Mania. There's no reason that Taker would be losing at Mania to Shane of all people. Well, not Shane McMahon of all people. But here's the thing. He lost, so last week Vince put him on Raw duty to prove that the show would be terrible. But the show proved to be decent. And on top of that, not only did the show prove to be decent, apparently there was some huge, hey man, we love the show so much, you should let Shane host, hashtag let Shane host or something like that. One of those things went around. So let's just use WWE's internal logic. WWE wants us to believe that Vince McMahon, who put Shane in the job of hosting Monday Night Raw, thinking that it would suck, and it turned out being pretty decent, is now supposed to be. We're not supposed to believe that he is going to let him do it again because Raw was so good. That doesn't make any sense. You see where this is where WWE's internal logic kind of wavers, because it doesn't make any sense at all, not in the slightest. So whatever. Monday Night Raw is being hosted by Shane McMahon again. It was all about bringing in the new stars and blah 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 blah. And he opens up the show and he's telling everyone, he's going to bring in the new stars. He announces a couple matches that I'll talk about later. But first and foremost, he gets interrupted by Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, reason why he gets interrupted by Kevin Owens before I skip over it is because he says that because Kevin Owens beat up Sami Zayn and screwed him out of being in the Fatal 4-Way, Sami Zayn gets a match against AJ Styles. If AJ Styles wins, then AJ Styles remains just the only number one contender. But if Sami wins, it's a triple threat at Payback. This is mildly interesting to me, only because I know it's going to be a good match. But then he is interrupted by Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is upset because he's like, I didn't get my IC title rematch. You're just throwing him in this main event for no reason, and I'm the one that was the champion, a prize fighter. He ain't been doing jack diddly, which is valid on Kevin Owens' part. Shane is doing, all this stuff for Sami Zayn, but he's not doing anything for Kevin Owens. And as Kevin Owens said, he didn't get his title rematch. I hate the stupid peaks and gains in my mic. Staring at your audio readout has to be the worst thing ever. Anyway, so Shane says, hey, you want your IC title rematch? All you got to do is beat Cesaro tonight. And then it's you versus The Miz. I believe, if memory serves, he says later tonight, but I think he actually might have said just later in general. But even still, he meant later. But if Cesaro wins, of course Cesaro gets the IC title match. Which, okay, I get this. I get that Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens is a match at Payback, which is appropriately titled, that you can have where it doesn't have to rely on the title. So you open up the title for someone else to have and make a feud a little bit more important, or you get a match that you can make a little bit more important than it would be normally. You can't just have Cesaro versus The Miz for no reason. No one would really care other than to see Cesaro win. And if The Miz wins, everyone would be pissed about it. But you also have to understand that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, or The Miz holding the IC, not even about those two. Those two matches, fine. They can all be held with good. It's a story that's freaking 15 years in the making. I mean, they always use how these guys are friends in the indies. This was a story arc they did in ROH and a bunch of other companies that were when Kevin Steen and El Generico stopped being a tag team. I get it. They're not going to take it as far as other countries. Other companies like ROH took it with selling the Kevin Steen with El Generico's head on a steel chair, severed head on a steel chair T-shirts. If WWE was to ever do anything edgy like that, I would lose my mind. Just Kevin Owens as a bear holding Sami Zayn's skull in his torn apart limbs, or with blood and entrails in his mouth or something like that. They never do that, though. It'd be cool for that might have been something they might have done back in the day, but not anymore because of sponsors and kids and whatnot. But you have The Miz being IC champion, which obviously the match, that's the first match of the night, Cesaro versus Kevin Owens. And backstage you see Maryse and Miz, and they're just eyeballing the match, and it's whatever. But here's the thing. Uh, why is Miz Intercontinental Champion? Anyone could have had that title and had the match with Cesaro. Back hitches. With that being said, it's like, why? Why does the Miz have to have the title? It's like, I feel like, and I know it's not true, but I feel like Maryse probably blew a couple guys, but like blew Vince one last time. She was like, "Oh, Vince, I don't want to do it anymore, but I'm married. Could you give Miz the IC title?" And then blew him real quick, and then he got the IC title, and now it's Cesaro chasing it. Which if Cesaro wins it, cool, but it's like Miz is very clearly a transitional champion, so he's either losing it to Cesaro or some other up and coming guy. I was hoping it was gonna be Zack Ryder losing it to an up and coming guy, like a guy coming up to the main roster like Samoa Joe or something like that, or hopefully would be Austin Aries or Bobby Roode or any of the other guys that's coming out of the Indies. That it wouldn't be too hurtful for the any guy that's got, or James Storm, who's got a little bit of time down at NXT, who it wouldn't hurt to have slap a title on them. Like, you wouldn't mind having the title slapped on them. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing the IC title on Samoa Joe or James Storm. I think they do a decent job at that. With that being said, it's like, it's just annoying to have Miz. I don't like the Miz. I just don't like him at all, and he's making me not like Maryse. But I'll get into that later. The first match is Cesaro versus Kevin Owens. The match in and of itself is it's a decent match. There's a lot of I don't know how to explain it. It's like, this episode of Raw was ROH light. If you ever watch Ring of Honor wrestling, that it was just like, it's a bunch of dudes just not going all out. It's a bunch of dudes going all out with like a very intricate move set. Everything it's a lot more technical. There's reversals and things like that. This entire show tonight was pretty much like that. But like the light version of it, not too much, because obviously Vince doesn't want to give the fans something that's actually like quality in-ring work. He wants to give them garbage, but they're starting to not accept that. But the match itself is fine. It was all Kevin Owens attacking Cesaro's surgically repaired shoulder, or I don't know if it was surgically repaired or if he was just like, he took time off from it, but that's what they say. So I'll just suck that shit up. Cesaro throwing in his European uppercuts as always, because if a guy has a gimmick that people like, then they gotta shove it into the ground, like Brock's suplexes and pretty much everything else. That is Cesaro's uppercuts. Who was it that had the Daniel Bryan's kicks? They have a thing that people can like chant or get hyped for. They got to run it into the ground, which you'll see more of that later in the show, or I'll mention more of that later in the show. But Kevin Owens, Kevin Owens controlled most of the match, but eventually Cesaro got off one of his springboard European uppercut, and there was a very nice words are hard, a very nice crossface at the hands of Kevin Owens onto Cesaro, which Cesaro reversed into a sharpshooter, which we will see a sharpshooter later tonight. But Kevin Owens went for the pop-up powerbomb. Instead, Cesaro rolled through and caught him with a neutralizer, and that's it. Cesaro is your new number one contender for the IC title. Kevin Owens just gets screwed in the butt, because who cares about Kevin Owens, right? Hashtag who cares about Kevin. Next, we get some weird backstage segment with Charlotte complaining about having to defend her Divas title, and Ric Flair being like, whatever, everyone else sucks. You're the greatest, and you're so pretty, even though you've got my face, which bothers a lot of people, and you have no butt. Well, she has a weird butt. Anyway, it's not about who she is, it's about how she, or what she looks like. It's about how she wrestles, and she's actually a decent in-ring wrestler and a pretty good heel. Well, she's not a decent wrestler. She's a good wrestler, but when she's her spear sucks and her punches suck. She can sell. I'll say she can sell better than a lot of the other like women on the roster. But hey, whatever. But Charlotte's a good in-ring competitor and a really good heel right now. Mediocre face. That's just because they stuck a herp with. But anyway, backstage they get interrupted by Dr. Phil, who just basically like reads them the riot act and tells like Charlotte she's using her dad to keep herself on top, and her dad's enabling her to be a scumbag and for her to stop being a scumbag. And that's the end of that because I mean that's what Dr. Phil is there for, I guess. Anyway, Kevin Owens is backstage. He's yelling at Shane McMahon, and he's saying, how he got screwed out tonight. He got screwed in that ladder match, and he wants Shane to fix it. And that he's going to hurt Sami Zayn tonight, and it's all on Shane's head. Shane says, don't threaten me, and, he's not going to screw over Sami, and he kicks him out of the building. And that's the end of that. The new... the New Day come out. Oh, yeah, he kicks him out. Like Kevin, you don't see Kevin Owens for the rest of the night. He's got the night off. Excuse me while I take a sip of my liquid beverage. I move away from the mic so this way people don't have to hear my drinking noise because I know I hate it when I hear it. Anyway, New Day comes out and they're talking about the tag team tournament that Shane announced earlier tonight, which is brought to you by Bootios. I really hate the Bootios thing that they do. It's like the most annoying part to their gimmick, and it whatever. It's annoying. Anyway, the first tag match, or the first match in this tag tournament, is Lucha Dragons versus the Dudleys. We get a weird break in the match, like right before it starts. And we come back from commercial, and Kalisto's just laid out outside the ring, and the trainers are checking on him and all that. And then we see a replay where he flies over the top rope, hits the ground, and then Devon, or he doesn't fly over the top rope. He goes to Devon pulls the rope down while the ref is kind of distracted, and he flies over the top rope, and he lands, kind of on his face and on his shoulder, or that's the bit he's selling, and then. Devon attacks him outside the ring while the ref's distracted. For whatever reason, what's the word I'm looking for? Kalisto is the legal man in the match. Like, he's the legal man. She just happens to. I mean, I don't know because it went to commercial, so I never saw a tag or anything. But from what it looks like, Kalisto is the legal man, and they even say as much on the commentary table. And Sin Cara's out there checking on him, and eventually Devon just grabs Sin Cara and throws him right back in the ring, and they just start beating on him, and the ref does nothing about this, despite the fact that even as that's happening, the commentary table is saying that Kalisto is the legal man, but apparently the Dudley Boyz are just allowed to beat on Sin Cara over and over and over, just like, and just beat him up, and take him out and pin him like he was the legal man the whole time. So they hit him with a they try to go for a 3D, and it's like they fail at it. I don't know what happened. There's like a weird botch, or like he springboards off him, and like I don't even know. It just happened weirdly, and it's like I kind of turned my head for a second. They were going for the 3D. He didn't hit it, and then he's just like, next thing you know, they're going for it again, and then they hit the 3D and win. And it's like just like very sloppy and very ugly and very stupid. And afterwards, they get bum rushed by Enzo and Big Cass, who are up at the top of the ramp, and Bubba Ray tells Enzo he has a lot of nerve to come down to the ring and go out there and talk to them like that they paved the way for, Enzo and Cass to be a team, and that the reason that punks like them exist is because of the Dudleys, and Enzo says that the reason he exists is because his mom and dad got it on, which is very funny. The problem is, I don't think that Vince, being the coward that he is to have people have backlash against the show, will allow them to say more stuff like that. Like, that thing is like very mild. It's something. It's one of those things you hear on the show when you're a kid and you don't get it, but you laugh at it, and then when you get older, you go, "Oh my God, that was something that they said." But it doesn't hurt you. It's just like, you may ask your parents about it. With the internet now, kids can just do whatever they want. Back then, back in the early 90s, when I was a kid, early to mid 90s, I didn't have internet because I was frightfully poor. So, and I still am. I was super duper, New York City poor back then. So I didn't have the internet, so it's not like things weren't available to me. So I was kind of late on the bus with a lot of stuff. Uh, but yeah, so they whatever they come out there and they insult the Dudleys and they say they're gonna beat them and basically just they give their shtick and then you know the Cass tells the Dudleys they need to get out of the way and because it's their time is done. Yeah, they're done. They're old dudes now. Thanks for everything you did, but you're done. So next, Roman Reigns is in the ring, and unfortunately, this is annoying. Roman Reigns says the thing he said last week. I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm the guy, which is something he said last week that I, as well as a lot of other reviewers and WWE fans, praised WWE for doing. That Roman is a good guy, but people are gonna boo him. Now, in John Cena's case, he just goes on and still tries to pander to people and crack jokes and blah, 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 blah. Obviously, Roman Reigns isn't like a crack joke kind of guy, or at least his character shouldn't be a crack joke kind of guy. So you kind of have to have him brush it off. So you have the line, I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, I'm the guy. He can say that once. For him to say it again tonight signals to me two things. One, that's his new catchphrase. Two, look out for the shirt. I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm the guy, with Roman's face or something on it. Him holding up his fist or something. It shouldn't be a catchphrase of his. It shouldn't be a thing. It should be something that he should be ignoring the fans when they run their mouth, when the fans start booing him, because it is. It becomes annoying. This is the thing with like John Cena screaming hustle, loyalty, respect, despite being a huge scumbag inside and outside the ring. It gets annoying. I don't want to hear catchphrase out of his mouth. I don't want to hear John Cena saying "you can't see me." I don't want to hear John Cena saying, never give up, or whatever. Right? It's annoying when Cena does it. So if WWE was smart, they would take that away from what they're doing with Roman, which is whenever Roman is saying he wants to fight people kind of get behind it. People cheer because they want to see a fight. They'll boo Roman in the end, but most of the WWE universe, the casual fans, non-reviewers, non-enthusiasts, people who just kind of watch it because, or bring their kids because they liked it when they were kids. You're kind of casual WWE fan who just accepts whatever they give them. Is stupid, straight up. The WWE universe, if you're part of the WWE universe and not just a wrestling fan, if you're a WWE fan, you're probably a moron. Straight up. WWE fans are kind of dumb. Wrestling fans are decent human beings who happen to like a particular sport. They like the whole. Usually wrestling fans are also fans of other sports. That's WWE fans are quintessentially like football fans and basketball fans, people who just hockey fans and baseball fans, people who are only fans of the one thing and not anything else, and they're moronically just they're moronic, and they moronically just follow whatever the thing they deem to be the best tells them to follow. So they're booing Roman Reigns because they heard on the internet that a couple people on the internet were like, we don't like Roman, so now everyone else does it. Now I know a couple people who genuinely don't like Roman for a multitude of reasons. I am not the biggest Roman Reigns fan. I think he talks too much, and this segment was proof of that. Roman Reigns should never talk for more than 30 seconds without hitting someone. That is it. Roman Reigns, in theory, should never be speaking. In a perfect world, I know what you're thinking. Roman Reigns has to say something, yes. But Roman Reigns should not be coming out doing what he did in this segment, which is talking about how great AJ Styles and Sami Zayn are and trying to put them over. But, and saying, but they're great, but I'm better, blah, 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 blah. Roman Reigns should not be saying any of that. Roman Reigns should not be stepping in that ring to do anything but punch people in the face who say something to him, because he's supposed to be this badass, the Samoan badass, right? That's his thing. You know what? Look at characters like when Bubba Ray was Bully Ray in TNA. He would come out because he can talk, but mostly he just beat people up. I mean, Kenny Omega, who's now leading the Bullet Club, which we'll talk about the Bullet Club later, who's now leading the Bullet Club in New Japan, is not really great on the mic, in my opinion. I like Kenny Omega, and I've been a huge Kenny Omega fan for many, many, many years. I was totally behind him even way before he was just the kid with the Street Fighter moveset and the Jufro, you know. But looking like he looks like blonde head version of Danny Sexbang from Ninja Sex Party. Anyway, uh, like he doesn't like those guys don't really talk a lot. Like they I'm stuttering. I'm just caught in a loop. They don't really talk a lot. They don't really, have much to say. They just go out and do their thing. AJ Styles is another thing like that too. He wouldn't really talk much. He would go out and do his thing. Samoa Joe goes out, doesn't really say much. He'll talk when the time comes to talk, but he mostly just goes out there and chokes people out, which is the best part of those guys. When you have a guy like Roman Reigns, a big buff dude with a sleeve tattoo, he's a Samoan. The Usos don't talk that much unless in their faces, obviously, but they're different. They high fly and stuff like that. They're off the top rope and stuff like that. So they have to be a little bit exciting. They gotta kind of be fun, but they don't talk that much. A lot of WWE has this very dumb mindset is that because they're related to The Rock, they have to talk because The Rock can talk. The Rock can talk, but The Rock was like very clever and witty and slick at the mouth and had an over the top kind of fun caricature personality that not only fit him, but it fit that era of wrestling. Now we don't want to hear guys just running their mouths all the time. Because nothing that they're saying is relevant or important. And I'm rambling on, and I'm going to stop talking about this in a minute. But nevertheless, Roman Reigns, to make a long story short, Roman Reigns should not be having a catchphrase where he has to come out while the fans are booing him and go, "It's okay. I'm not the good guy. I'm not the bad guy. I'm just the guy." It's dumb. It's annoying. It's stupid. Like if you smell what The Rock is cooking is just a generalized statement. Like it's something, but it's fun. And the way The Rock would say it was hilarious because he'd stick his tongue out and make all types of noises. And then Stone Cold Steve Austin would say, "Oh hell yeah, give me a hell yeah," when he was like itching for a fight. Roman Reigns should not be coming out and talking unless he's calling somebody out for a fight or saying how he's gonna beat somebody up. Roman Reigns, in theory, should be backstage. Anytime anyone says that they want to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion, they should be seen. The next time you see them backstage, Roman Reigns should be delivering a spear to them or Superman punch to the face. He should not ever be saying anything. Anyone who says that I can beat Roman Reigns, next time you see them, should be getting decked in the mouth by Roman Reigns, and that will make Roman Reigns' character perfect. He should never talk for longer than 30 to 45 seconds without hitting someone. Even if he has to run over to the commentary table and punch freaking what's that boy's name? Byron Saxton in the mouth every 30 seconds. If he's gonna talk for 2 minutes, he should just go up and punch Byron Saxton in the face halfway through that. Like he should go be like, "Hey, I'm Roman Reigns. I'm not the good guy. I'm not the bad guy. I'm just the guy," and then leave the ring and punch Byron Saxton in the face, and then go back in the ring and continue on like he didn't just punch him in the face. Or continue on like he doesn't care that he just punched him in the face. But anyway, Roman Reigns talks for way longer than he should be, which is longer than 40 seconds. And he gets interrupted by the League of Losers, a.k.a. the League of Nations. And Sheamus says, Roman is, he won't be so confident if, he wouldn't be so confident if he had to face someone in the League of Nations at Payback. And that Rusev, basically says, "I should be the face of WWE." And then Roman says Rusev is the ass of the WWE, which is true, but that's mostly Lana's fault. Then League of Nations, he basically says, "Fucking fight me about it." And then League of Nations starts to charge the ring, and then the lights go out. And then who comes to save him? None other than the Team Christmas Carol, the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future, waiting for Ebenezer Scrooge to come back to the team. I don't know what happened to Ebenezer Scrooge. He might be injured, but whatever. The Team Christmas Carol come to save Roman Reigns, and they help fight off the League of Losers. And then Shane McMahon comes out, and he makes tonight's main event, which is the Ghost of Christmas Present, Christmas Future, and Roman Reigns to go up against. Actually, he's the Ghost of Christmas Past. Is he Ebenezer Scrooge? I haven't decided who's who yet. I just call him Christmas Carol. And actually, because the story is about Ebenezer Scrooge, I'm going to start calling him Ebenezer Scrooge. So the Ghost of Christmas Present is currently injured from the Christmas Carol family. And it's Ebenezer Scrooge and Bray Wyatt. Jesus Christ, I said it because I'm looking at it on my notepad. It's Roman Reigns and Ebenezer Scrooge versus two members of the League of Nations tonight. never again will you hear the phrase, other than now, of course, the name Bray Wyatt again. He is Ebenezer Scrooge, and there is the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future, and they are the Christmas Carol. They are no longer the Wyatt family because they are dead to me. And I don't like A Christmas Carol as much as other people do, mostly because I don't celebrate Christmas. I much prefer Oliver Twist. Anyway, is that by Charles Dickens? Yes, it is. Also, Cricket on the Hearth is pretty decent. Really dumb though. So that's the thing that happens. Ebenezer Scrooge and Roman Reigns are having a tag match against the League of Nations tonight, so that's whatever. Next is Dr. Phil, as I take another sip of my liquid beverage. Dr. Phil is walking down to the ring for some reason, which is annoying. But it's because we're having the match we were announced earlier tonight, which is Charlotte versus Natalya. Which I haven't called her Natalya in forever. If it wasn't written down in my notes, I would not say it. But it's Charlotte versus Natalya for the WWE Women's Championship, and they are very, very pushing the phrase "women" now. Like, you would think that they got like Anika Sarkeesian or one of the many, many, many like neo-feminists that get like really stupid on the internet for no reason, who call everything sexist just because they want to call everything sexist. But they are like women's wrestlers, the women of WWE. Like, they are fucking like reaming it in our anus. Like, they do not care. It's not a suppository either, but they are gonna shove this women's pill in our anus because, and they are going elbow deep. And WWE is wearing a ring too. They're wearing a Hall of Fame ring before they go elbow deep into your anus with this non-suppository of the word women. Like, divas are dead. They're gonna have to change the name from Total Divas to Total Women's. Or totally WWE or something. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, you're only a diva if you're on Total Divas. Other than that word is dead to them, which means they'll just use it again next week. But this match is, like I said, tonight's show with the ring work was a lot like ROH light. You know, like it's got the same base. It's like Crystal Light compared to Kool-Aid. It's got the same basic components, but it's like a lighter, easier on your digestive system, a little bit less sugar, and the thing that makes it awesome, but still pretty decent. So Charlotte and Natalya just have like a very just a heavy mat wrestling transitions and things like that, reversals. Charlotte does damage or Charlotte does like a lot of like leg locks, leg takedowns and things like that. To Natalya in order to weaken her leg up. She even slaps on the regular figure four without the bridge to soften her up. Doing her heel stuff. Like drop kicks to the not drop kicks to the face, chops to the chest and things like that, like her dad, and jumping knees and freaking head scissors and things like that. And it's a really solidly worked match. Proof that Natalya should have been in this position where she is now, or what they're doing with her right now, a long time ago. She should have been the Charlotte. She should have been the precursor to Charlotte. She was supposed to be. And I don't mean like she was supposed to be in WWE's books. That's what was the whole point of having her in WWE, is to make her the precursor to Charlotte. If they had done that, there might not have ever been really a Divas division. But whatever, they didn't want to go with Charlotte. They wanted to go with I can't even remember. Given the title to Jillian Hall and Alicia Fox. Well, Alicia Fox can actually work in the ring, but they don't take her serious. Giving it to the Bellas. They wanted to tag on to all the pretty girls and all that. Which, by the way, Natalya is gorgeous, but I mean, they didn't want they want pretty girls. And that's pretty much not really in ring talent. But ever since the days of AJ Lee. They really WWE fans are like, oh, girls can be cute and beat each other up, awesome, and Paige and whatnot. They got Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte, so they're not accepting no guff. So Natty has a place now. But an overall solid match. The end of the match saw another Charlotte missed a moonsault off top rope, which decent execution of the moonsault on Charlotte's part. And Natalya slap on the sharpshooter after taunting her too, because all Charlotte was doing was taunting her during the whole match. And she slaps on the sharpshooter, and Ric Flair pulls the ref out of the ring as Charlotte is about to tap. Like, he pulls the ref out of the ring. The ref is he's arguing with the ref, and Charlotte is tapping out. which the ref does not see. He just immediately gets the bell rung, and Natalya wins via disqualification, but does not win the Divas Championship, which is the setup itself was a decent fake. I kind of wish that Flair had like shoved the ref or something like that. Like he pulls him out of the ring and like gets in his face and pushes him or something like that, and like then he calls it DQ. He's just kind of pulling him out of the ring is something we've seen like Stephanie McMahon does that a lot, where she'll like grab the refs like or other people do that too. Where they're like, I mean, Ric Flair's thrown his jacket on top of wrestlers before, like he did it to Becky Lynch, and you're just like, he's grabbed at chicks pulled Charlotte's leg to get her closer to the rope and things like that, and there was no DQ. And I don't like these kind of floater rules, like they can just kind of do what they want as they want kind of thing. I like it to be very finite. Like this will get you DQ'd, or a little bit more finite, where it's like this will get you DQ'd if you do it. This will not get you DQ'd if you do it, so on and so forth. But it is what it is. So that's the thing that happened. That match happened. What else am I talking? So yeah, that's that. Natalya wins by DQ, which Charlotte tapped, so that's the thing that they're doing now, which is kind of cool. It was a good match though, so no big complaints about it. Backstage, Renee Young is talking to Sami Zayn. She says, "Are you gonna be ready after how you got beat up last week?" He's like, "I'm gonna be ready because I got heart and soul." Looking like that singer Alex Clare, that the redhead guy who's got like he's like a soul singer or like a pop singer, but everyone always says he's a ginger with soul. But AJ Styles comes up to him backstage while he's talking to Renee, and he's like, "I'm the only number one contender, and I'm gonna keep it that way." But he also does say, hey man, we both were there in the Indies doing our thing, so you know what it is. And then they just kind of have that look, and then they they get ready for their match. Next, we get the Usos versus Heath Slater and Curtis Axel. I believe this is the tag tournament thing. I wasn't really looking, and I don't really care because it's the Usos and the Social Outcast. But to make a long story short, the Usos win because they're the Usos, and they were going up against the Social Outcast. What is important about this, though, is that after the match, they are tagged by. Technically, still, I don't believe they ever renounced that. I think they're just signed to WWE now, so that's the thing. Is they are attacked by Bullet Club members Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows, or aka Doc Gallows. Even when he went to TNA, I still called him Luke Gallows because he's Luke Gallows, man. Come on. Which I can already see the clever fan to make a Festus sign or start chanting Festus because they think they're so clever. The WWE universe is so smart. But so they run out of the crowd, and they are two big bald white guys, and they beat on the Usos and make a statement. People get hype in the crowd because they know who they are. There's a lot of smarks in the crowd that think they're smarter than the average bear. People mostly, I think they recognize Luke Gallows because of CM Punk, so they also get hype. But that's the thing that happened. Backstage, Maryse is yelling at some stagehand, a PA or whatever, about there being blue M&Ms in the candy bowl, and that the Miz contract says no blue M&Ms. And it's like, when did Miz get all these stupid things added to his contract that she's talking about? She's like, oh, he only drinks imported European water. And first and foremost, one, the fuck happened to Maryse's French accent? Somebody explain that to me. I'm still confused as to what happened. Chase and I were talking on Facebook. Chase even tweeted about it. He's like, what happened to her French accent? And I agree. What the fuck happened to her accent? I'm really confused. She has a vaguely Spanish accent now, or I think it's because she hasn't had to use the accent in 5 years. I don't remember when Maryse was in WWE last, but I think it was to the late 2000s. I don't remember when she left initially. She left when she left when she was hurt, and so it was that was 2011. So yeah, 5 years. Yeah, she left in 2011. So she hasn't had to use the accent for 5 years, and then all of a sudden she comes back and like it's weird. Like it's just weird. Um, so but whatever. I guess it's just weird. It's weird and kind of annoying. Um, so she has her crab accent and is throwing off all this like uh all these BS things about how the Miz has this in his contract, the Miz has that in his contract, and JoJo comes in and asks him about his challenger for the IC title. Uh, Maryse calls JoJo a groupie, and then Cesaro walks in with, I don't know why Cesaro has an earpiece. That's the only thing that bothers me. I get the whole Superman gimmick, like the ripping of the suit and all that. But why does he have an earpiece? That bothers me. Whatever. He's not like Agent Smith or something like that. But he says he's going to be the guy that takes the IC title from The Miz. And then The Miz accidentally drinks domestic water, which I would like to say, one, Maryse kind of looks different. She lost some weight, or like she thinned, like she lost some weight. Not like in a not to be negative or positive, but she looks different. She just looks different. Whatever it is, whatever. But you cannot give domestic water to a man that has had European pussy. You just cannot. I think she's French Canadian, but even still, any dude. I mean, if she's French, you know how French Canadian women are gorgeous, and so is Maryse. So it's like you don't bring that domestic water. That PA is a moron. You don't bring domestic water to a man that has had foreign exchange puss. You can't do it. You're a moron if you do. Like the first chance I get, I'm gonna like nail an Irish or a Scottish chick, and then I will never drink domestic water ever again. You can't. All right, that man is drinking from the French Canadian, possibly just pure French lakes of Maryse's Lake Minnetonka. Okay, you cannot do that. He puts Maryse's vagina on his lips. He will never. His mouth should never touch domestic liquid ever again. When it's had foreign liquid on it. I'm done. I'm done doing this bit. Anyway, next we get AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn. Great match. Nothing else to say about it. It's a great match. The only problem is the ending. After like a lot of versus great Maryse, it honestly just looked like a match that a basic ROH match, or a basic Indies match, because it's two guys that's how they know how to wrestle. There's nothing you can do about it. They bust out their signature moves and everything. Excuse me. At the end of the match, saw Styles AJ Styles power bombing Sami Zayn off the top rope, but Zayn kind of like flips out of it onto his feet, and then he just kind of kicked AJ Styles in the face, and then he missed the when Zayn is or when AJ Styles is kind of trapped in the corner, he missed that like the Yakuza kick that he throws. I don't know what it's called. I think it's called like the hell of a kick or something like that, and he runs into like AJ Styles' boot. Like AJ Styles puts the leg up and boots him, and then AJ Styles hits the phenomenal forearm and pins him, and that just threw me off because it's like they really just don't want him using the Styles Clash, and I get that you don't want to like overdo it with the Styles Clash because I mean he ended, almost every match other than he used to do the spiral tap. He ended almost every match in TNA and the Indies with the Styles Clash. There was then he had the calf crusher when he faced off against Bully Ray, so that makes sense, but. Jesus Christ! I mean, the guy he's only done it once so far in WWE, and it was on Chris Jericho, or maybe twice actually. And it's like, all right, I get it, but the phenomenal forearm isn't a finisher; it's just a signature move. That'd be like John Cena winning with the freaking fisherman suplex. Like it just doesn't. It's weird, Like it's like Roman Reigns winning off the Superman punch, Or Dean winning off that weird like rolling spring spring back clothesline. That's not how you do it. But it is what it is. So moving on. AJ Styles wins. He's the only #1 contender backstage. Shane McMahon congratulates them and whatnot and says thank you for that, and they shake hands. Now here's the thing, because this is the last thing about Shane, I need to take a step back for a minute, and I have been talking forever. So for anyone who listened to this whole thing, I'm sorry. But Shane McMahon has been in every single aspect of tonight, even going as so far as to he was dealing with Kevin Owens. When Kevin Owens got mad, he dealt with Kevin Owens, and when Roman Reigns got saved by the Team Christmas Carol, he came out and said, "Oh, I like this. You and Ebenezer Scrooge working together. How about you guys have a match in the main event tonight?" Every single aspect, Shane has been, even up until now, Shane has been in the mix of it. What happened with the Charlotte and Natty match? Natty clearly makes Charlotte tap out, but Charlotte gets herself, or Ric Flair gets Charlotte DQ'd. But for some reason, Shane doesn't say anything about that. And this is the thing with WWE. You cannot show Shane to be attentive and lazy at the same time. How come he doesn't care about the whole quote-unquote women's wrestlers all of a sudden? And I've been conditioned to say divas for so long, I can hardly say women's. But that's the thing. It's weird because he skips that match that didn't just happen that long ago between Natty and Charlotte, yet comes back out to say, "Oh, hey, backstage to say, Styles, Zayn, you guys did a great job." Why? But whatever. Next, we get, it's just one of those things where it's like, not whatever though, but it's annoying. WWE, I gotta write with some consistency. Next, we get Chris Jericho's highlight reel, and Jericho saying he's the biggest star in WWE history, and he makes himself his own guest on the highlight reel. He gets interrupted by Dean Ambrose, who says, "This is no longer the highlight reel. This is the Ambrose Asylum." He gives him a piece of paper that says Shane McMahon signed it, and it's got like a weird hole in the middle of it for no reason, like as if, like the only thing I can think of is that time where it's an episode of American Dad where like they keep showing books that like Roger the alien has had that he's put his penis in that have like huge holes in it like that, and it's just weird, but whatever. Anyway, to make a long story short, Dean hits Chris Jericho with the dirty deeds. The worst part about this entire segment is that Dean just moving past the Brock Lesnar feud, which makes his match with Brock Lesnar not matter at all. Like, it wasn't a feud. It makes it completely pointless because he's no-selling Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar is not going to be around for months on end. So it's like, why couldn't we have gotten Kevin Owens versus Brock Lesnar? Why couldn't we got some of the matches we were, the notion was kind of passed around and the idea was teased? But whatever. Once again, I'm not here to argue or whatever. Next, we get Apollo Crews winning a match. It doesn't matter who he faced off. It's Apollo Crews, and he faced a jobber. It was Adam Rose. He beat Adam Rose. No one cares. Moving past it. Congratulations, Apollo Crews. He's not going to make it very far because he's black. And that's not me being a pessimist. That's me being a realist. WWE Universe as a whole, just for whatever reason, it's not even about them like hating black people or anything. They just really don't get behind black wrestlers who aren't like some kind of gimmick. Like, they got behind Booker T because he was all, kind of like, street-ish. Like, he was like, "Oh, I can't believe you said," he got like attitude and things like that, and he would spin on his head. They really can't get behind guys who aren't dancing or like weird stupid black caricatures like Crime Time and Primetime Players, New Day. They had to be kind of goofy in order for them to get by. Apollo Crews is like a serious in-ring competitor and a great athlete, so there's nothing for him. When Big E was just being like a decent athlete, when Kofi is being like a decent athlete, when Xavier Woods is a good athlete, like a decent athlete, nobody cared about those guys. Not the New Day, and they're kind of like a joke, ha ha ha, funny black guys roasting everybody gimmick, and now all of a sudden everyone's behind it. So WWE, even just from the universe to the people backstage, they cannot get behind the gimmick of a black guy just being a good wrestler, and that's it, because that's what it should be. It should just be that he's a good wrestler, but no, it's that he's got to be a crazy black guy, or a rapping black guy, or a dancing black guy, or angry black guy. So it is what it is. I can't. I'm not gonna give it crap until I see where it goes in a couple months. But for now, I'm not getting my hopes up. Finally, we get Roman Reigns and Ebenezer Scrooge versus the League of Losers. The Roman Reigns and Ebenezer Scrooge win. That's literally it. Like, Ebenezer Scrooge hits the Tiny Tim on Alberto Del Rio and wins. Like, I don't understand why Ebenezer Scrooge and the rest of the Christmas Carol people are faces now, but whatever. The show ends with what was just stupid annoying, and totally the end of this Raw was just like, it spat in the face of the good wrestling we had. And like, to see Ebenezer Scrooge carrying an entire match wasn't too bad, but it's weird because Ebenezer Scrooge's character is like inherently a bad guy with almost no redeeming qualities. Wow, I'm realizing now that being a douchebag at this point is actually semi-relevant to the story of Christmas Carol anyway. But either way, Ebenezer Scrooge is just kind of like him carrying the match is fine. It's just weird to see him as a face being buddy, but or like this weird anti-hero being kind of buddy with Roman Reigns right now. But it is what it is, I suppose. And so they get the win, and the show ends right before they kiss each other on the mouth. And you know what? I'm just gonna say for the sake of the review, they kiss each other. Yeah, Ebenezer Scrooge and Roman Reigns kiss tonight. That's it. End of Raw. So overall, the show wasn't bad. You know, definitely probably like a B. I give it a B. It was a pretty solid work match, and most of the things made sense. But the whole inconsistency of Shane that one time, and the final match of the night, just didn't fit with the rest of the show. But it was a decent Raw, so end all be all was I can live with it. And I'll give it a B. I'll be nice. I said B. I just literally thought of that. So tell me what you thought in the comment section below, which nobody ever does. And if you even listen to this whole thing, if you managed to get through this far, just let me know in the comment section below. I listened to the whole thing, and it was you're say I don't care what you say afterwards. Just tell me you listened to the whole thing, and tell me what you thought about the show. Join me next week when I'll be reviewing Raw. And I'll catch you on the next one. Until then, peace, love, and applesauce.